Hello everyone. As you know that I cover these stories as I get them when it comes to black men being wrongfully convicted and then exonerated after several decades of serving time behind bars. Now, here is a man, he's 57 years of age. His name is Sidney Holmes. He was wrongfully convicted and now he has been exonerated after 34 years he has served of a 400-year sentence. Now, he says that he's never lost hope and always knew that this day would come. According to the Innocence Project of Florida, who worked on his case when he learned he would walk free. Now, the 34 years of a 400-year sentence for an armed robbery was released from a Florida jail this week after prosecutors dismissed charges against the wrongly convicted man. He says, I never lost hope, and I always knew this day would come. And so he says, I cannot wait to hug my mother in the free world for the first time in over 34 years. Now, Holmes contacted the Conviction Review Unit of the Broward County State Attorney's Office in November of 2020, saying he was innocent of the 1988 crime, the office said. Holmes was arrested in October 1988 in connection with an armed robbery that June of two people outside a convenience store in unincorporated Broward County, just west of Fort Lauderdale, according to the state attorney's office. Accused of being the driver for two unidentified men who committed the robbery, he was convicted by a jury in April 1989 and sentenced the next month, according to the state attorney's office. The review unit and the Innocence Project of Florida started a reinvestigation of Holmes' case, and their findings raised reasonable doubts about his guilt, the office said. Now, a strange set of circumstances led to Holmes becoming a suspect. The Innocence Project of Florida said one of the two victims described a car used in the robbery as a brown Oldsmobile Cutlass with a tan top and a hole in the trunk. Weeks later, the victim's brother saw a brown Cutlass driving down a road and reported the license plate number to authorities. That car was registered to Holmes, the Innocence Project said. Holmes had an alibi, and his car had key differences from the perpetrator's vehicle. His attorney said there was no physical or scientific evidence nor any corroborating witnesses linking Mr. Holmes to the crime, according to the Innocence Project. Holmes was identified by one of the victims in a second photo lineup, despite not being identified during an initial lineup, the lawyer's statement read. Based on the recent review of the case, prosecutors determined that Holmes had a plausible claim of innocence because of how he became a suspect and because of the precarious eyewitness identification that was the principal evidence against him at trial, the state attorney's office said. The Broward State Attorney's Office would not have charged Holmes if the case were presented today, the Conviction Review Unit wrote in its final memorandum on the case. A judge on Monday approved the request from the state attorney's office and the Innocence Project to vacate Holmes' sentence and conviction, and prosecutors dismissed the charge, the state attorney's office said. The afternoon, Holmes walked out of a Broward County detention facility and into the arms of his mother and family in an emotional embrace. We have one rule here at the Broward State Attorney's Office: do the right thing. Always, Broward County State Attorney Harold F. Pryor said, adding he commended the candor and assistance of the victims, witnesses, and officers in the reinvestigation of the crime. Innocence Project of Florida Executive Director Seth Miller, a co-counsel for Holmes, thanked Pryor and the Conviction Review Unit in a statement for looking objectively at old cases and giving Sidney his life back. And I want to say this because a lot of times when men are exonerated, black men especially, when they are exonerated, and the information or the evidence is presented finds out that they were wrongfully convicted, we still have state attorneys, district attorneys that are standing behind these wrongful convictions, as I did a video recently where the state attorney there said that she stood behind the conviction of the district attorney that indicted and convicted that particular man in that case. And I think it's really, really sad when we have people that are in these places, these positions, that are unwilling to admit when they're wrong and own up to it. This man served 34 years of a 400 sentence. Sidney Holmes. This man is 57 years of age, and he's missed majority of his life, 34 years of his life, behind bars for a crime he didn't commit because a witness saw a brown cutlass and gave the license plate. But the cutlass that was used in the actual murder, the crime, had a hole in the trunk. And this particular car didn't have a hole in the trunk. And when they made one brown cutlass, they didn't make, when they made one, they didn't stop making one. There's more than one brown cutlass that's out in the world. It's more than one, a Cadillac, black Cadillac. Is more than one red Chrysler. I mean, when you think about these cars, just because you see one doesn't mean that is the actual car. And what they should have done is looked at the car to make sure that that car didn't have the same, characteristics that Mr. Holmes' car had. And then you have a jury that probably wasn't given all of the information, and so they convicted based on the information they had. And I believe that this needs to stop. And withholding evidence or, not giving accurate information, and you have a jury that sits there and they can only convict based on the information they are given in majority of these cases. And so I'm thankful and I'm glad to hear for a change that that the district attorney's office realized that this man had been wrongfully convicted, and that that they can own up to this, and that they were willing to participate in re-looking at the case, reinvestigating it, so this man can walk free, because he shouldn't have never been behind bars to begin with. He can't get back those 34 years. And it doesn't say anything if he will be compensated, because some states have an automatic compensation and some you have to request it and file for it. So I don't know if he's going to proceed with all of that. He should, because he's going to need to have income to get his life back on track, to get it started. Not only that, even getting his case, those records changed and maybe even expunged to show that, so he doesn't have that on his record. So when he goes, if he does go to apply for a job, being 57 years of age for 34 years behind prison walls doesn't earn you a lot of Social Security. And this man is 57. Eventually, he will be facing Social Security. And it's just really sad that we keep seeing these cases. And so when people are automatically assuming that people are guilty because they were found guilty in a court of law, but that doesn't mean that they were actually guilty of a crime, saying that they committed the crime just because they were found guilty, because we see there's a lot of cases with discrepancies. We see there's a lot of cases where evidence is withheld, a lot of cases where there's a lack of due process, where the due process of that, a person that they're charging is violated. We see that sometimes public opinion will convict people. And once people get something in their mind that somebody is guilty of something, or they've done this for years, or, they really did it and I believe it. And you have a lot of people that don't like to read. They don't want to participate in getting information about, the evidence. And they will listen to the media and believe the media. They just get it stuck in their mind that the media tells the truth all the time. They must be guilty, because the media said it. They must be guilty because they was indicted and they must have had something on them. Otherwise, they wouldn't have been able to indict them. That is so far from the truth. That is so far from the truth. And I just really pray that people will really start to really stop thinking in such a biased manner, one track, narrow, tunnel vision mind, that the media and the government doesn't get it wrong. They get it wrong many, many times. The media gets it wrong pretty much all of the time, and they're not willing to make it right when they learn of new information. And then you have the government, that gets it wrong majority of the time. And that's why they have a high, conviction rate. And it's really sad. And if these cases do not prick you, your heart, your mind, something, to say, we got to stop believing everything. We have got to stop believing everything just because the government says it or the media says it. We got to stop, because we got to start to say, you know what? The presumption of innocence should apply to everyone, not just certain groups of people or races of people, but the presumption of innocence should apply to everyone. We have a constitution, but it just seems, it just seems like our constitution is selective. I'm going to say that it just seems selective, because we just see it too much. We see it happening way too often. We see it happening way too often. And that's why we need to talk about these cases and bring awareness. And I wonder how many more. We know it is, but I don't have an actual number, but we know there's a lot more cases where Black men have been wrongfully convicted, and they're still behind prison walls right now, wrongfully convicted, violating people's rights, violating their due process rights, just all types of things. And some of them probably have died behind prison walls. And we're thankful. I know I am thankful again for the Innocence Project. And this was the Innocence Project of Florida who worked on the case. So we're thankful for the Innocence Project, because they have been getting a lot of, winning a lot of victories here and getting men exonerated, Black men dismissed and getting the charges dismissed. And I'm thankful, and I will continue to bring you all these stories. Share them with your family, your loved ones, because if you think it can't happen to you, and so while you're so quick to say, yes, that person did it, they need to stay behind bars for the rest of their life, and they shouldn't be this and they shouldn't be that. And no, let it happen to one of your family members, and let's see how quick you start reaching out to the Innocence Project or reaching out to others and trying to tell your story and wanting people to believe you. I just pray that people will stop doing that, and that they would just start to, give the presumption of innocence when stories are put out in the media, and we also know that Black men face more legal disparities in the judicial system here in America. Also, they suffer more in the hands of the judicial system of any other race. We know those things to be factual. And so, and also the fact is that, again, there are some prosecutors that they still stand on wrong when they find out that they convicted someone wrongfully. And this is one of the things that I'm glad to see in our state, where I reside at, is that they are actually looking to these cases. And Bonta said, no person should be behind bars dealing with litigation for as long as a lot of these wrongful conviction inmates are going through, when the evidence points that they were innocent from the beginning. Even before the trial happened, they were innocent. And when new information is learned that they are innocent, they should be able to walk free. There is no reason why they should be still dealing with litigation when they know that they're truly innocent, and the information the evidence has pointed towards that person being totally innocent and having nothing to do with that crime, or murder, or even rape, or sexual assault. And so with that being said, you all, please leave your respectful comments below. What do you think about this? What do you think about this? And do you think that an innocent person that's been wrongfully convicted should have to deal with a whole bunch of litigation and judicial court bureaucracy to get out of prison to be released if they are truly innocent? Okay, so let me know what you think about this, on this whole thing. Let me know what you think. Leave your comments below. God bless you all.